So think about this for a second. What would you do if you had um, like $1.5 million sitting in the bank? Your house is almost entirely paid off, and you have a job that makes you so miserable, your stomach literally turns every time you pull into the parking lot.
I mean, you probably quit, right?
Right. You'd hand in your badge, pack up your desk, and just walk out into the sunshine. Like, without a second thought.
Yeah, from the outside, it seems like the most obvious choice in the world. You've got the financial resources, you have this severe pain point, so, the logical next step is the exit door.
But logic and human emotion, especially when we're talking about money and career and identity, they don't always play nicely together.
No, they really don't.
So today we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating case study that we pulled straight from the Heart Coast Fire community.
And just for anyone listening who might be new to that specific term, Coast Fire is basically this financial strategy where you front-loaded enough of your investments that you actually no longer need to contribute to your retirement accounts.
Yeah, like the heavy lifting is done.
Exactly. Your money is going to grow enough on its own in the background, so you really only need to earn enough to cover your current day-to-day living expenses.
Right. And the subject of our deep dive today is a 59-year-old federal employee. He's a GS-15, which, if you know the federal system, is a very senior level.
Oh, yeah, high up there.
And he is living exactly this scenario. I mean, he spent 15 years at a job that was, entirely tolerable for most of it. But a recent change in leadership has made the environment so incredibly toxic that he can barely physically force himself to go to work.
It's rough.
Mm.
And yet, despite that daily misery, he's just completely paralyzed. I mean, he has the assets to leave, but he is absolutely terrified to actually pull the trigger.
Which is wild. So that is our mission today. We are going to unpack this incredible clash between emotional fear and sound financial logic.
We're going to map out the exact math behind building what's called a 3-year bridge to retirement.
Yep, and we'll dig into the nuances of ACA subsidies, invisible pension penalties, and really explore why high earners, people who have supposedly made it, often struggle so profoundly to choose personal freedom over career security.
Because to understand why this senior official is so stuck, we first have to look at the brutal but honestly necessary reality check he got from his peers online.
Right. The community reaction was amazing because the paradox here is just striking. We are talking about someone who is, by almost any standard, independently wealthy.
Let's break down the actual assets he brought to the table when he posted this public breakdown.
Yeah, let's hear the numbers.
So he has $800,000 just sitting in his TSP,
Wow.
right? Plus another $400,000 in IRAs. And on top of that, he holds $300,000 in standard taxable brokerage accounts.
Okay, so that gives him $1.5 million in liquid investments.
Exactly. Add in a house that is nearly fully paid off in a pretty stable market. And,
Yeah.
I mean, his financial foundation is rock solid.
If you're listening right now and you're grinding away in middle management, just staring at your own spreadsheets, you are probably thinking, I would kill for an $800,000 TSP. Just quit already.
Yeah, it seems completely absurd from that perspective.
It does. Why is a GS-15 someone who clearly understands really complex systems and makes a very high salary completely frozen by the idea of leaving?
Well, it really comes down to the high earner's identity trap.
Yeah.
When you reach a GS-15 level, your identity is no longer just what you do from 9 to 5.
Right.
It is deeply intertwined with your title, your sphere of influence, and let's be honest, that very predictable, very large biweekly direct deposit.
Yeah, the federal government provides this incredibly structured environment. Leaving that isn't just about, severing an income stream.
No, it's about losing a defined place in the world. The fear of stepping out of that structure is just potent. For this guy, the fear of losing his status and his security is actively overpowering the severe daily misery he's dealing with under this toxic leadership.
He is literally more afraid of the unknown than he is of his terrible boss.
Exactly.
And he took this dilemma to the internet, which is never shy about sharing its unfiltered opinion.
Oh, they definitely let him have it.
They did. The Coast Fire community absolutely roasted him. But it was, a roast born out of tough love.
Yeah.
They looked at his balance sheet and basically told him he wasn't broke. He was just scared.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
Right. And I was reading through the source material, and there's one specific quote from a commenter that just perfectly encapsulates the whole thing. They wrote, "This isn't a math problem, it's a therapy problem."
Oof, that hits hard. But it's so true.
It really is. It's like he's wearing golden handcuffs, except the gold is mostly just anxiety at this point.
Yeah.
There's no actual lock on the cuffs. He can just slip them off. But if the internet can clearly see he could retire tomorrow, probably live till he's 85 and still have money left over, why is the math not enough to cure his fear?
Because fear really thrives in the unknown. His federal benefits and his senior salary act like gravity. The closer you get to your target retirement age, the heavier the pull of that pension and that health care becomes.
Making it mathematically and psychologically agonizing to reach escape velocity.
Precisely. Math on a spreadsheet is totally abstract. The
Yeah.
fear of running out of money or making some catastrophic, undoable mistake at 59 years old, that is entirely visceral.
So true.
So to conquer that kind of fear, just looking at the final destination isn't enough. You have to illuminate the specific step-by-step financial terrain between where he is right now at 59 and his target retirement age of 62.
Right, because if he cuts the cord on his salary 3 years before his pension actually kicks in, the math has to be absolutely flawless.
Yep.
How is he generating cash without draining his nest egg?
Well, the strategy he's employing here is called the 3-year bridge. The core of his plan is to retire right now, escaping the toxic workplace at 59, but intentionally delaying the collection of his FERS pension until he turns 62.
Okay, so why wait?
By waiting until 62, he completely avoids the specific age penalty that's applied to early federal retirements. But doing so creates a significant 36-month gap where he's going to have zero income from his pension and zero income from Social Security.
So he has to fund his life entirely from his own portfolio for 3 years.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's look at the actual mechanics of drawing down that $1.5 million. How does he actually bridge that gap without panicking every single time the market dips?
He starts by establishing a highly conservative withdrawal rate. So, the standard rule of thumb in the financial independence community is the 4% rule.
Right, the classic 4%.
Right, but given his high anxiety, he calculated a 3% withdrawal rate on his $1.5 million nest egg.
Okay, so 3% of 1.5 million is $45,000 a year.
Yep, that is his target budget to live on and bridge the gap.
$45,000 a year, which, assuming he has no mortgage payments since the house is almost paid off, seems very doable.
It's definitely comfortable without a mortgage.
But wait, if he is pulling from his investments, what happens if the stock market totally tanks the day after he retires? Like, if the S&P 500 drops 20%, isn't he forced to sell his assets at a massive loss just to buy groceries?
And that is exactly what he's trying to avoid. What you were describing is sequence of returns risk.
Okay.
This is the danger that a major market downturn early in your retirement will force you to sell off shares at depressed prices. And that permanently depletes the capital you need to generate future growth.
Because once you sell those shares, they can't rebound when the market recovers.
Exactly. If you experience negative returns in year 1 or 2, it can mathematically devastate a portfolio that would have otherwise easily survived a 30-year retirement.
Right. So how does he neutralize that risk? What's the specific step he takes?
By using a cash buffer. He isn't going to sell stocks month to month. He plans to build up 3 full years' worth of living expenses, so roughly $135,000, entirely in liquid cash reserves or cash equivalents before he actually leaves.
Oh, wow. So he is entirely insulated from the market for those 36 months.
Yep.
If the market crashes, he doesn't touch his equities at all. He just spends the cash he already has sitting in the bank.
Precisely. And this strategy allows him to leave his massive thrift savings plan, that entire $800,000, completely untouched.
That's huge.
It is. He's just letting that large engine continue to compound in the background without drawing a single dime from it. The bridge ends at 62 when he turns on the delayed federal pension and eventually adds Social Security.
Which dramatically lowers the amount he ever needs to pull from his investments again.
Exactly.
Okay, the cash buffer makes perfect sense. But if he's pulling $45,000 a year, there is a massive looming variable we haven't even touched yet. Healthcare.
Oh, the big one.
He is a federal employee. If he walks away at 59, how on earth is he paying for medical care? I mean, one bad diagnosis or one major surgery could completely wipe out that $45,000 annual budget.
You've hit on the exact pressure point that keeps the vast majority of high earners permanently tethered to their desks. The healthcare cliff.
It's terrifying.
It is the most tangible, terrifying cost of leaving early. In the federal system, if you separate from service before reaching your minimum retirement age or MRA, with the required years of service. You completely forfeit your access to FEHB in retirement.
FEHB, the Federal Employee Health Benefits Program, that's like the golden ticket.
It really is.
The ability to keep your subsidized health insurance for the rest of your life is the main reason people stay in government service. And he is willingly giving that up.
He is. And the source material shows him really heavily weighing his options to replace it, comparing the costs of private insurance against the ACA, the Affordable Care Act marketplace.
Right, because his options are limited.
Very. He could use COBRA to keep his current plan for 18 months, but without the government subsidy, he'd be paying the entire premium himself, plus a 2% administrative fee.
Which is notoriously expensive. I mean, COBRA is brutal.
Oh, it's easily over $1,000 a month. Alternatively, navigating the private insurance market at 59 without any subsidies. That can also easily run way over $1,000 a month for a single person, usually with high deductibles.
But wait, doesn't his bridge strategy actually give him a massive advantage with the ACA? Because if I remember correctly, ACA subsidies are based on your taxable income, not your net worth.
Yes, you are connecting the dots perfectly. This is where the mechanics of his cash bridge become incredibly powerful. ACA subsidies are tied to your MGI, your modified adjusted gross income.
Okay.
So if he is funding his life primarily from cash reserves he has already paid taxes on, or by selling off assets in his taxable brokerage where only the capital gains are taxed, his official MEGI on paper is going to be incredibly low.
Oh my gosh. So even though he is literally a millionaire sitting on $1.5 million in assets, the government looks at his tax return, sees a MAGI of maybe like $20,000 in capital gains and dividends, and gives him massive premium tax credits for his health care.
That is the functional brilliance of the strategy.
That's amazing.
He can secure a robust ACA plan for an absolute fraction of what it would cost on the private market, simply because he controls his taxable income.
Right.
But, trading the absolute certainty of the federal FEHB plan for the yearly volatility of the ACA marketplace, it still requires a massive leap of faith.
Definitely.
And healthcare isn't the only cost of leaving early. There is another deeply hidden penalty in his plan.
Wait, really? I thought we established that deferring his pension to 62 avoided the penalty.
Well, it avoids the flat age penalty. That's the 5% reduction for every year you are under 62.
Yeah.
But it introduces what's known as the deferred pension trap.
Oh, what is that?
This is a highly nuanced detail of the FERS system. If you defer your pension, yes, you do get the full percentage based on your years of service when you collect at 62.
Right.
But what you miss is the CLA. Deferred FERS pensions do not receive any cost of living adjustments during that waiting period. Yeah. The baseline value of your pension is permanently frozen on the exact day you walk out the door.
I didn't realize that. So inflation is just silently eating away at the purchasing power of that money every single year he waits.
Exactly. Let's run the actual math from the sources. Let's assume his calculated pension upon leaving at 59 is $30,000 a year.
Okay.
If inflation averages just 3% over the 3 years he is waiting, that $30,000 pension, by the time he actually turns it on at 62, will only have the buying power of about $27,500 in today's money.
Man. He's actively bleeding purchasing power. He's losing thousands of dollars in real value every single year. He's paying out of pocket for ACA healthcare, and he's not contributing a dime to his TSP.
Nope, nothing.
At what point does the financial loss of this strategy outweigh the benefit of just staying at the job? It feels like he is paying a massive premium just to buy his freedom.
And that is the critical pivot in this entire deep dive. You, and probably the listener, might be looking at this purely as a math equation.
Right, because we're looking at the numbers.
If the goal is maximizing every single dollar and dying with the highest possible net worth, this plan is a failure.
Yeah.
But what this individual realized is that the math eventually has to stop being about optimization and start being about a completely different metric: his mental peace.
Which brings us to the final verdict.
Yeah.
Did he stay for the FEHB and the CLA, or did he actually jump?
The sources gave us a final update. He made his decision.
Yeah.
He is putting his papers in next month.
Wow, he's actually doing it. He's leaving the safety net.
He is. And seeing the toolkit in action is just fascinating. He executed the exact bridge we just broke down.
Every step.
Yeah. He secured an ACA plan, accepting that it will be a fundamentally different experience than his federal benefits. He is relying on his cash reserves to fund his daily life and keep his MGI low.
Right.
He has left his TSP completely untouched so it can keep growing. And he has accepted the delayed pension, fully aware of the invisible inflation penalty he is going to absorb.
So he consciously chose to stop optimizing for wealth.
He traded the future buying power of his pension for the current buying power of his sanity.
I love that phrasing.
If you view this through the lens of a human being whose physical and mental health was being drained by a toxic environment, it is the most optimal decision he could possibly make.
That is such a powerful shift in perspective. There is this quote from his final update that just stopped me in my tracks when I read it. He wrote, "I'd rather be afraid and free than miserable and secure."
Yeah, that is a profound admission because it acknowledges the reality of the emotional barrier.
It really is, because it proves that the fear didn't actually go away. He didn't suddenly become this fearless, Zen master of personal finance.
Not at all.
He is still terrified. He is still worried about sequence of returns risk and the changing landscape of ACA premiums and the lack of a KLA. The fear is still sitting right there in the passenger seat with him. But he acted anyway.
Exactly.
He realized that the whole point of saving $1.5 million wasn't to win a high score on a spreadsheet. Money buys options, but you still have to be brave enough to actually use them.
And that is exactly why high earners struggle so much. They spend decades building a complex machine that generates incredible security.
The golden handcuffs.
The senior salary, the federal benefits, the pension, it is an incredibly comfortable, well-upholstered cage. Recognizing that you hold the key and that the only thing keeping you inside is your own emotional attachment to the idea of security is a massive psychological hurdle to overcome.
Yeah.
He proved that prioritizing your mental health completely justifies leaving money on the table.
So just to recap this incredible journey, we watched a terrified, high-earning federal employee use a highly calculated 3-year cash bridge, leverage his low taxable income to navigate the ACA healthcare marketplace, and commit to a conservative 3% withdrawal rate, all to escape a job that was crushing his spirit.
Yep.
And he did it knowing full well he was going to take an invisible inflation penalty on his deferred pension.
It is a masterclass in applying financial theory to messy human reality. Personal finance isn't just a spreadsheet.
No.
It is a tool. It is a hammer and a saw that you use to design the life you actually want to live.
Yeah.
And as this case study proves, sometimes the word security is really just another word for feeling trapped.
Which brings us right back to where we started. If you are listening to this on your commute or staring at your own retirement spreadsheet, look at your own career and your own savings right now.
Take a real look.
Are you optimizing your life for maximum dollars, squeezing every last penny out of your potential earnings? Or are you optimizing for peace? And if you are choosing to optimize for the dollars, what exactly is all that security costing you?